Welcome to another episode of 22 at the Lips. I'm your podcast host, Alexis Stout, and this is the podcast from EMS providers to EMS providers, healthcare workers, and anybody and everybody in between. So whether you work in EMS, whether you do not, thank you for being here along this journey. So don't have a guest, it's just me. Couple of things I want to talk about. One of the hot topic buttons that you press. I don't know. One of the things that get under my skin is rolling up to a scene and it's already feeling like it's just dramatics everywhere. The people are just being dramatic. Everybody's in an uproar. It's just absolutely chaos. And someone steps up and says, "Don't worry, I'm a doctor." And it's not that it's the extra help. It is that mentality of like the superiority that comes with it gets under my skin. Absolutely irritates me. Recently came into a situation with it. I don't want to give it away. Basically called to a wedding reception. Somebody's drunk. We get there. This girl's absolutely wasted. We're just trying to get a report, and this guy who is slurring his words, incoherent for most of what he's mumbling, but he ends up telling us that he is an internalist and starts bossing us around to the point of telling us the degree that she needs to sit at, telling us to keep a jaw thrust the whole time, telling us to just every little step along the way. Grinds my gears. I was able to keep my mouth shut, which was really impressive. But like the stark contrast of that and that mentality versus like one time I was on a call it was on a bike trail or a trail in general, but somebody was riding their bikes. Long story short, they ate it. They went into cardiac arrest. The flight crew got there first just because we had to get in an ATV and like haul butt all the way to the call. It was the sketchiest ride of my entire existence in this career. But no, we get there. There's a doctor already there, but he's asking us and the flight crew what needs to be done. And like he's one of the ER docs, one of the ones I trust. He works rescue force, whatever. I don't know what the actual name is. The rescue people. He works with them, but he's so humble and I don't know. I understand you're a doctor and mad respect, nothing but respect to it just because you went to medical school, you did your time, you earned the degree, you earned that title. I get it. Mad respect. But the hierarchy and like, I don't know, just that mentality of just, I don't know. We're all on the same team. We're all working to do the same job. We're all working in this together. But like, I don't know. When I get on scene, I want help and I want assistance where it's asked for. But like, I didn't ask for you to be here. I didn't ask for you to butt in and start telling me how to do my job. I don't tell you how to do yours. You know, I don't know. Long story short, when it comes to it at the end of the day, you are the highest level provider care on scene. That doctor is a bystander. That doctor cannot tell you how to do your job unless they're your medical director. And that's very much how I looked at it. It was as soon as we got her on the stretcher, we just started walking to the ambulance. We didn't ask anybody anything else, just to get away from the chaotic scene. And then they ended up while we're in the back, there was a fight that broke out. They're throwing beer bottles everywhere. And then some guy yanks the back door open and we had a heated conversation. Anyways, um, I don't know. There's a lot I know and I don't know. I know that if it's my scene, it's my scene. Please respectfully get out of my way. Not that I'm telling people that on scene. I'm not telling firefighters that. I'm not telling my partner that. But like at the same time, you don't boss me around respectfully. But also don't boss me around. So next topic. I didn't know how to segue this any better than that. I just found out that artificial blood exists. It's not, it's still very much in the study phase, and it's still there, it's very experimental. It's a whole thing. You can go do your own research and look it up. I did. I couldn't find enough good stuff that I really wanted to just throw into this podcast episode. But like, it's wild. The concept is that instead of having to wait for blood transfusions, if they have artificial blood, which has a longer shelf life, um, I mean that'll substitute it and it'll help with the blood shortage that we do have. I don't know. It makes me so nervous thinking of things grown in labs, and I know that sounds so stupid, but like it makes me feel wary. I don't know. I've read too many conspiracy theories. I'm very much a worry wart, if that's the word. I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. I think it would be useful in the EMS setting. I don't jump on the bandwagon that every ambulance in the United States needs to carry whole blood. Um, at the same time that like I wouldn't see it beneficial on the truck I normally run out of, just because we're 5 minutes from the hospital from any given point. The longest transport time I've had in a hot minute was like 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. So like I wouldn't use it, but our 24-hour trucks, what we call our out counting trucks, they have longer transport times of 15, 20 minutes. They're in middle of nowhere, Egypt. Their transport times are anywhere 15, 20 minutes, but like they they would benefit from it. And do I think every provider needs to have that ability? Not necessarily. Is that a jab at anybody? No. I don't I think it's something that as much as we can benefit from it, from carrying whole blood, at the same time, it's not something that needs to be taken lightly and something that we just train on once a blue moon, once a year. I think it needs to be something that's trained on efficiently and hard, if that trained effectively. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I don't think everyone needs to carry whole blood. I don't think every paramedic needs the responsibility to be able to administer whole blood. Um, it's something that just, if it's done wrong, it's done to a detriment. But I'm not saying that it's not a bad idea. I'm trying to figure out how to sum that up. Like, I'm going to move on. Basically, pre-hospital needs it. Not every ambulance needs it. That's the way yes. Okay. Glad we could cover that. Anyways, um, so yeah, not every ambulance needs it, but like at the same time, if we have something that is, if it's artificial blood, it's not whole blood, has a longer shelf life, doesn't have to be at the exact right temperature. A lot of factors that go into it. I think that would be more beneficial than actual whole blood. My last little tidbit. I recently had an encounter and it reminded me how much I need to trust my gut. I worked the cardiac arrest. It was me, my partner, the supervisor, fire department crew. Long story short, at the nursing home, she was in the bathroom. Staff heard a noise coming from the bathroom, and then they went in there and she was on the ground. And they did everything, felt for her pulse, didn't have a pulse, started doing compressions. I think, yeah, they attached the AED, defibrillated her, did all the cool hero stuff. We get there, she is in a paced rhythm without a pulse. Had her tubed in a good amount of time, but before we tubed her, I don't know if we witnessed CPR induced consciousness. I don't know what exactly we witnessed to a T, It's my guess that it's CPR induced consciousness. She wouldn't move, but it almost was like she was trying to breathe on her own. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. So she was doing that from the moment we arrived. We worked her for 45 minutes. At that point, we had pushed, God, like 5 or 6 EPIs. We had a paced rhythm the whole time, had PEA, paced rhythm, no pulse, no femoral artery pulse, whatever. But the whole time she's still doing those little like guppy gappy breathings. It was the weirdest thing. I called the doctor just to try to get like a hey, you know, I've done all these things. What am I missing? What do you recommend? Do we bring her in? Do we not? Um, Told him all the things, told him how she was breathing. He actually did call time of death. I go back in and the supervisor's like, well, there's a shockable rhythm we wanted. She's in straight VFib. We go ahead and shock her because I said, what's the harm? Ask for forgiveness. What's the phrase? It's better to ask for forgiveness than beg for permission. So I decided to ask for forgiveness later after not begging for permission. And we just went ahead and shocked her because shame on me. But anyways, um, shocked her, got her back in the paced rhythm, whatever. I called the doctor back and just told him that we were going to go ahead and transport. We transported her, dropped her off. Oh, we also, with her agonal respiration and stuff, the whole time had beautiful end tidal. That was another reason I waited the 45, almost 50 minutes to call the ER because the whole time it's not like she had a sudden spike. She was already at the sudden spike from the get go. It was the weirdest thing. So we brought her in. They ended up, they worked her for another hour. At one point, they got pulses back. She had a terrible blood pressure, obviously. Um, her rhythm just was not cute. They started pressors, started leave fed. He said they worked her, she lost a pulse, they got it back. And at that point, she gave a, because she was still doing the agonal respirations the whole time. Um, at that point, yeah, she gave a big deep breath. They lost her asystole the whole time. So they went ahead and called it. But that gut feeling of calling the doctor, knowing that it just doesn't feel right, knowing that I felt like it was way too early to call it. And I wasn't, I suggested it, but I also was asking for feedback just because within our protocols and our criteria, we worked at the right amount of time. We had all indications. We were good to go, but it just felt wrong. It felt so wrong. Did I think bringing her in that we were actually going to get her back and she was going to be walking out of the ER in a week? No, I didn't have high hopes. We worked her for so long. She was intubated within, I think, 10 minutes of us all showing up. Um, Watched the rhythm the whole time. Whatever. We gave her her best shot. But just that gut feeling of it's not enough and it's not enough time and it's not the right time to call it. I don't know for what reason, but I'm not mad about it. Um, I don't know. It was the first time I've ever looked at somebody after working them for 45 minutes and felt like maybe there was a slight chance. Granted, I didn't think that chance was very big. And whenever I got the follow up, I wasn't surprised, but like just that faint chance that it could be there. I haven't felt that in a hot minute with the codes I've worked. Um, Also, this was one of those calls that like, I don't know if I've done this for long enough. It hasn't stuck with me. Used to it would have torn me up a little bit, would have, I don't know, would have sat really heavy with me for a little bit. And it hasn't. I don't know if that's worrisome or not. I think it's growth. I think it's a positive direction, but that's just me. But those are the things I wanted to talk about. That's really all I had. didn't really want to drop any earth-shattering revelations besides any of that. So if you have anything you want to add, if you had anything that you thought of, send me a DM. Let me know what you think. Love discussion, love feedback. And I appreciate my people that stick it, even on the solo episodes. And if you've listened this long, thank you. Appreciate you. And as we end every single episode, so with that.
The 22 at the Lips podcast is designed to support, not replace, the relationship that exists between a practitioner and his or her medical director. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host, guest, and not necessarily of Master Medics. The information provided during this podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for your approved protocols.